plants, but for the gastropods. Because as you can think of this, this isn't just a battle of strength. This is also a battle of hardness of shell. If you compare these two lips right next to each other, this is a little thicker than this one. So what happens is, if he can't get the shell open, his shell might break. And so sometimes this little edge here will break off, or it could actually fracture all the way in. And if you look right here, there's a little chip missing. That was a part where his shell wasn't quite up to snuff for the tasty clam he was trying to eat. And if you look over here, there's a huge hole missing. Ouch! That would have been really, really bad. He's lucky some other larger cephalopod, an octopus or something, didn't come and find him when he was damaged like that, because he would have been a goner. So he went through all of that. So what killed this guy? The clue to that is right here. Believe it or not, this isn't natural. This edge actually should go all the way out to right here. If you look on the edge, you can see where it actually expanded out a little bit. Someone came up and broke this whole piece off. But who could do that? I'll tell you who. Crab. Crab comes up with his claw, and just like one of those old-fashioned can openers, sits there and crack, 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 just peels away at the shell until he can reach in and pull him out. And then the crab just sits there and munches on some tasty escargot. So that's how you can tell who killed this guy. If you look right there, there's a huge crack going up. Whoever got him was really hungry. But if you look further up his shell, right here, again, you see this big crack missing. That could have been another crab earlier on whose bit, wasn't as lucky as this last one. This gastropod was actually able to get away from the crab and then start to rebuild his shell and heal himself. So, as you can tell, this guy went through a lot before he went out finally. So, just in case you want to see some more examples, there's this guy. Another one. This is more of a tulip shell, I want to say. If you look again, you see the same pattern right there. It was just open like a can. So, another victim of the crab. And so we can then ask ourselves, well, if a gastropod made this one, what made this giant hole right here? If you look, there's a giant hole that was later healed. What made that? And if you compare the two holes, there's this small one from a gastropod, but this one doesn't quite look the same. It's bigger for one thing, and this gastropod for that would be huge. But also, it's not a perfect circle like you usually see. That is from a beak. Not a bird, though. From a cephalopod. Octopi and squid have beaks. What they can do, they'll just grab onto one of these and just sit there and start pecking at it until they can break through, and then do the same thing. Sit in there, start to eat it, peck at the soft bits until it dies, open it up, and eat the whole thing. But as you can see here, it wasn't successful. Some cephalopod got a hold of this, started pecking at it, and this lucky clam was actually able to get away and then heal himself until getting killed by some lowly gastropod. So, with these techniques, we're actually able to tell the life stories of these guys, and they actually come to life, even after they've been fossilized and buried under the ground for millions of years. But one of the really interesting things about this is that this is still going on today. These gastropods have it down. Their hunting strategies work for them perfectly. And so they don't really need to work on evolving new ways to hunt. They can just work on evolving new ways to defend themselves against crabs and sometimes even other gastropods that want to sit there and do the same thing, poke a little hole in their shell. And so, if you go to the beach today, like I happen to have, you can see these same signs on modern shells. See? Like right here. We now know exactly who killed this clam. is a gastropod. Here we have another one, another gastropod, and right here, this is a little bit more interesting because if you look right here, you see that's a big jagged hole. That means cephalopods. But at the same time, if you look closely, there's a tiny hole right there too. So this guy was gotten at by both a cephalopod and a gastropod. So the question is, which was the one that finally killed him? I'd say, in my professional opinion, probably the cephalopod, this one, just because it looks bigger. If you think of it, you have this big octopus or squid that comes by, finds this, eats it, and then there's a little gastropod trying to dig through the shell on the side. You're going to eat him too. A little 2-for-1 there. So, yeah, it's just amazing how you can sit there and reconstruct not only what's going on today, but what's going on millions of years ago. So, if you have any questions about this or any other paleontology questions, just give me a little post right there on the bottom of this YouTube page. I'll get back to you and we can learn something together.